Hello to everybody joining now. I'm only going to be streaming for about an hour, but I'll wait for some more people to get in before I start the stream properly, as always. Yeah, I'm only going to be streaming for about an hour because the weather's too hot and I don't feel great, so, pardon me, I'll, said just stream for an hour. It's the other way round. You have the filters, the adapters, so you can put 40mm NATO filters on a 60mm mask. But yeah, they work fine. That's why they were obviously used, because lots of countries didn't want to upgrade to 40mm masks when they still had lots of 60mm ones. Yeah, the S10 is a great mask, as I've always said. There's better masks out there, but the S10, you can get them generally quite cheaply. Get whatever mask you want to get. I don't know what you're asking me particularly. I don't know what you've got or whatever else. Depends totally where you are, what's available cheaply, what you like the look of, everything else. But some people did say to me yesterday, and I looked this up and this is ridiculous, there's another Novichok false flag thing. If I go to America, there'll be a video of me at a gun range. Sure, I wouldn't do that and not film it. Well, there's not really such a thing as a riot mask, unless you mean riot helmets. Most gas masks just work with, obviously, all gas masks will protect you from tear gas. No, I don't have Battlefield 1, I've no intention of getting it. And I don't have a PS4 or Xbox One, so there you go. I could get on PC, but I won't. It depends what country you're in, because we have, obviously, an S10 makes it past customs in the UK, because it doesn't even need to go through customs. But that's the reason I can't buy US masks, because they're illegal to export in private sales from America. So I wouldn't be able to buy one from American, for example. Yeah, well, I've got my volume in the same place as usual. You might hear the fan in the background a bit because I'm not turning that off because it's 30 odd degrees again. Yeah, 29.7 degrees centigrade. So yeah, I'm not going to, you know, turn the fan off because I've been having a headache and whatever else all day. Just where obviously it's just been too hot. That's pretty cool. I think Weapon Collector's one of his swords like a Pakistani sword, but... or an Indian sword, I'm not sure. Cold War, as I've said before lots of times, or medieval period. I'm not really excited for it. I might get it when it's on sale, but I don't have any intention of pre-ordering it. I don't generally like pre-ordering games, just the simple fact they often are never as good as they're advertised as. While asthma is totally kind of situationally dependent. My asthma is normally triggered by dust and stuff like that. And then obviously that makes me wheezy. I can use the inhalers to be better temporarily, but asthma's kind of incurable. Yeah, wow. Can't tell you that, Stephen. As you know, if you followed my videos for a while. Yeah, but that's because I find them interesting. I find pretty much all military weapons and everything interesting. If I could easily get firearms in the UK and actually be legally allowed to shoot them, I'd go and do it, but obviously I can't. And like I've complained about before, the UK is becoming very politically controlled for owning firearms. Especially because it's now like, you know, we'll take away your firearms permit if you say something the government doesn't like. Oh no, it's because the weather's hot. But maybe I'll blame it on Novichok. Maybe I'm feeling ill because, you know, the Russians poisoned me. I'm sure that's the answer. Overall, the death penalty is a good thing, but I would not trust most governments to be able to implement it fairly, so it would just be used against political opponents. Yeah, GP5s, there's over 100 million of them made, even more if you just count the entire SHM series of masks. Well, you can get arrested for racism in most countries, but they call it hate speech, and hate speech doesn't even mean racism. Hate speech basically means you have said something that has offended somebody somewhere, and because you said something that offended somebody somewhere, you can basically be jailed or fined for it. So it's basically a catch-all offence that they can just chuck on people. It's very tyrannical. Yeah, it's exactly. English shootings on the main channels. I don't even know what he said in particular that made them revoke his firearms license, but again, that's the whole point. This is why I have no interest in legally obtaining firearms in the current political climate, because even if they somehow granted me them, I bet I'd say something on YouTube and then they'd immediately take the firearms away and I'd lose a load of money. Yeah, this is my job. The US, like, I get asked every time, but you can't simply just get, you can't just simply emigrate to any country you want. I think a lot of people, I don't know why, believe that, but, you know, you actually have citizenship tests and all these requirements for, like, citizenship in most countries, which sadly means that, you know, even if you wanted to be a productive member of society in one of those countries, you can't just simply pack your bags and leave. Russia has several masks at the moment. They have, is it, I can't remember the name of it, ROU mask, is it? The one that's like the lightweight kind of disposable mask. They have that one. They've got several, like, you know, later variations of the PMK series for the military. But yeah, they have like a later PMK mask, and I won't know the number without looking it up, which is kind of like a panoramic lens PMK mask. And they have like the disposable lightweight masks. Yeah, because I made that video years ago when everybody thought GP5s were safe. You know, I don't have a time travel machine. I think a lot of people assume that I do for some reason. But I don't. It's like people said, but why did you say the GP5 was safe years ago? Because there was no evidence it was dangerous. Tough one, maybe my XM28 gas mask. Hose gas masks. Like any of the Soviet ones with the hoses, that's pretty much it, because most mod masks don't use hoses. They can think what they want, but I make money from it, and at the end of the day I'm prepared if anything does happen, they're not. It's up to you. I don't think most people have anything against people wearing camo trousers, especially if you're not wearing full camo. No, I cannot come to your 13th birthday. Yeah, M61 gas masks are just American M9s, of better quality though. Well, if you want filters that are in date, you have to use ones much more modern than the 90s. But it depends what people want them for, really. Oh, it's the airsoft question again. I don't have a full ghillie suit, and I've got an airsoft rifle. If you bothered looking on my channel, you'd see it, but I'm not going into the whole airsoft thing over and over and over again, like every stream where it keeps getting brought up. Alright, cheers, but I can't meet everybody who says a fan request. It's not even a weekend at the moment, it's Thursday. What do you mean how's the weekend? You need to ask that question on Monday, don't you? Doesn't make a difference to me if it's a weekend or weekday. I do YouTube every day, so it doesn't make a difference. Today's the only day I technically work, because I volunteer on Thursdays. And that was pretty horrible today, just because of the temperature. Yeah, we were on about that earlier, crazy chicken guy. It's another false flag. Apparently it was some heroin addicts, wasn't it, that overdosed, and now they're blaming the Russians for that. Heroin Novichok. Probably British DPM 95. I'd love some CAD Pat, but that's impossible to get. I like Danish Fleckton as well. It does depend though a lot on what colour the vegetation is and everything else. I assume FP211 filters are one of the mask pole filters, just not FP5s. When you say camo for a survival situation, what does that have to do with pockets? Or do you mean what would I pick? Volunteer at the Blue Cross at an animal shelter. I've already said I don't like any of those Battle Royale shit games, so stop asking me. As most of you know that know what sort of stuff I play, I generally play a lot of retro games. You haven't missed much, mate. I've already been over hunting camos in a video recently, Fallout player that upset a lot of people. I guess I'll every stream again, probably MTP for most of the year round. Maybe Woodland 95 or Fleckton, it really depends, but if it's Fleckton it has to be old Fleckton, not the brown Fleckton they make now. You can look how long the stream's been going. If you hover over the start of it, it will say when I started streaming. But it's been 11 minutes. You could probably paint it on, but you'd need a paint that wouldn't destroy the rubber but would actually stick to the rubber. When you say modern digital camo, do you mean pixel camo? Because it's not the same thing and I did a video covering that. It totally depends on how good the camo pattern itself is, but probably more of a splodge pattern like Fleckton is, because it looks a bit more natural, so therefore it tricks the eye better. I don't use consoles, mate, use a PC, because you can play any game on a PC as long as you know how to emulate it properly or use proper compatibility with it. Most GP7s are bad. There are some alright ones and PMKs, but the quality control was obviously awful in the late Soviet Union. No, I don't have a PO box. Nobody can send me mail except people I personally know through YouTube, so I know they're not going to send me a bomb or something. Well, I think Desert Fleckton looks alright, but it looks more like the kind of Fleckton you'd want in an arid environment rather than pure desert. Because, like, obviously Soldier 95 Desert is what I'd think of when I think of desert camo, like a two-colour, you know, like brown and yellow kind of camo. Not like brown, yellow, green. Surplus CAD-PAT's illegal. You can't own it. The Canadian Army destroys it on purpose. You can get third-party versions of it, but it's not really the real thing. I was playing Army Man RTS the other day. That was made by Pandemic, before EA destroyed them. Yeah, I've still got it, but I never shoot it just because of how crazy the draw weight is. But I took the scope off of that and put on my Jandal crossbow, so I've now got that zeroed pretty good on it, so that's a pretty practical crossbow now. Like I said before, compound crossbows, unless you have a lot of range to shoot them on, are a bit overpowered really. It depends what period you're talking about. There was lots in the 80s. We had, in 2011, very big riots where a lot of London was burnt down and the police stood back and did nothing. There's probably going to be a lot more coming up, but there's not been a big riot in a while. I was into, is in Kevlar vests or like chest rigs. Well, if I could get a chest rig at a reasonable price with the plates and the Kevlar panels and a chest rig, but as generally getting chest rigs is very expensive, all the gear, and Kevlar is cheap, Kevlar vest for that reason only. Yeah, basically the UK is turning into a police state because you know, rather than dealing with real crime more and more, they're going after people that make mean comments online, and mean comments now is getting more and more absurd to the point where somebody doesn't even say anything offensive. Knife law in the UK is very dodgy, as in you can have something that you can technically perfectly legally own and still get arrested and charged for it, so in theory, there's a difference between theory and reality, and I've got a video filmed on this that isn't live yet, and it's sort of stuff that you can in theory carry, but it's probably best not to. CT12, as I've said lots of times. I've played Armour 2 quite a bit. I didn't like Armour 3 very much. Well, most of the police in the UK don't protect us, though. I'd rather have no police and just be allowed a gun, to be honest. Because I have yet to see a situation personally where a policeman has helped me. I'm not saying they're all bad, I'm just personally saying that I have never had an incident where the police have been able to resolve something that's been a problem. Alright, cool, it's nice you got a GP5 mask from him. It probably was an SHM41 if it was a military thing. Well, I don't live near an Asda where chavs rev their Corsas, but Corsas are shit cars, aren't they? So there you go. I did a video on lenses, so watch that. Yeah, like I said before, Article 13 can't be enforced, so I don't know why people are so worried about it. Just let them fail trying to enforce it. Well, you just said beside the Cold War, when is your favourite period between that time period? So there isn't one, I guess World War II. That's why I'd say Cold War or medieval, but not, you know, a lot of stuff in between. Yeah, you can actually get arrested for quoting some of the stuff Churchill said now in the modern stuff. We don't have the FBI in the UK, mate. Yeah, I've played Verdun, because remember, Verdun is one of the games I said I actually did gas mask right, not doing it stupidly. Butterfly knives are totally illegal in the UK, both to own and to buy or sell. I don't live close to Surrey, no. I use my gas mask every time I do a video, don't I? I've played Plague Inc. before, yeah. I mean, I could buy it, but I've got more important stuff to spend my money on at the moment. Yeah, Churchill said certain things that if you quoted today would be considered hate speech and you go to prison. Yeah, if you had a butterfly knife in the UK you could get several years in prison for it as well as a criminal record. No, you can make your own hunting knife as long as it doesn't fall into an illegal knife category. No, because I'm just doing an audio stream. As I've said, audio streams generally go a lot better, so I just do those. Or do you mean face camouflage? But no, I wouldn't do face camouflage. As I said, I use a scrimnet. I like Soma. That came out a couple of years ago. Probably for Shida F2. Yeah, because you can get phosgene gas and other gas come off of cars. Your comments are showing up because you just left a comment. I don't get that. I constantly get people in these say, oh, am I blocked because nobody can see my comments? Like, if you leave a comment, I can see it. America, as has already been said several times in this stream. No, I've said before about World War I stuff. Why I wouldn't bother buying it. If a size 2 GP5 fits you, then a size 2 SHMS, because they're both Soviet hood masks. No, with long hair you can't use a GP5 properly. I mean, you can in theory try and get it airtight, but I'd recommend shaving your hair off, same as every mask. There's a reason, like with facial hair and long hair, you're not allowed them in the military to do with masks. That's why they have that as a strict requirement. I think it was about £60, but then I got a load of money refunded on it because it said it was a brand new mask and it was made in the 1990s. So the seller said I could send it back for a full refund or I could get a partial refund. So I opted for a partial refund because I did want the mask. Israeli civilian mask because it's 40mm NATO. Alright, cheers Aiden. Or Aiden, if that's pronounced right. If they still want to take it, they can take it. The police can pretty much ruin your life if they want to. I don't have one. Is that one of the old Polish or Czechoslovakian helmets, the WZ-67? But most of those steel pot helmets are roughly as good as each other. They're alright, but not as good as obviously modern Kevlar helmets. What do you mean by the little cap off? Oh, you just keep your filter sealed. Yeah, no, it's no problem. It's just everybody always asks me why I haven't got World War I gas masks, and it's just simply because it costs a lot of money to buy them. You have to be careful you don't get a fake, and then you have to not destroy an antique by not storing it properly. That's why I'd never get one. It probably depends totally on the mask, but obviously I wouldn't recommend it. Because I shave my hair to 0.5mm when I cut it, and then obviously shave it off about once every 1 or 2 months, so my hair doesn't get all that long. No idea, I don't have any fancy sports cars with lights that folds into the body, so I don't care. No, never played cross out. When you say Israeli and MP40, do you mean an Israeli 4A1 mask? Because that's better than the GP5. Well, I do some survival videos on this channel. I'm not going to make a second channel to split the videos between channels. I already said you just keep the GP5 filter sealed, or if not, put some tape over it. If you put like a balaclava on before putting a mask on, you break the seal of the mask. It's a film mistake they always do. The masks are designed to fit flush with your skin, not with a mask and then your skin. I'd probably sell a GP5 or something, obviously, because I'd sell one that's worth nothing in the collectible scheme of things, so I can just instantly get another one. Nope. Unfit to serve with the army, and I would not want to be a cop. What have they actually done to the Imperial War Museum then? Because when I went a couple of years ago it was very good. So how have they ruined that? A Jandal Chase win probably a £90 draw weight. That's well under £150. That's probably £120 at most, depending on where you look. Or one of like the Armex Polang or whatever they called Mankung crossbows. Then just set up how you want it. They're much cheaper. See ya. I've got an M17. Don't need another one. Alright, cheers, Boris. It's a replica, so yeah, but it's not a real World War I mask, is it? It's a replica. It's not even a brilliant replica at that, but I quite like it anyway. DPM you can probably buy for £10 for the trousers or the shirt. MTP will be a bit more expensive, and it depends if you're buying second hand or new MTP. but both of them should be less than £20 for each of the bits. But some cameras are obviously going to cost more. Only goggles I've got are like protective goggles for shooting and like working, like metal working and grinding and stuff. I don't have any fancy goggles, like welding ones. What do you mean, what are my thoughts on Imperial War Museum? Because, like I said, when I went there years ago it was fine, but it's just a museum. Oh, so they're actually taking away parts of history that are offensive. Yeah, it's a pointless museum then now, isn't it? All the filters, like 40mm, are the same when you say secure. Like, once you screw them, they're all attached. But you need to get the right filters for the mask, like NATO or GOST or whatever. But yeah, I'd recommend you watch a load of my videos before asking comments like that, because I have kind of explained that a lot in videos, as Gristle says. Yeah, $30 for an Israeli civilian mask. The 4A1's an alright price. If they're airtight ski goggles, they protect your eyes from chemicals, but not if they're not airtight. It's like why swimming goggles would work, but not a lot of protective glasses. Oh yeah, I'd love a C4 if I could get one. Alright, cheers, Rage. Yeah, don't go diving with an IP5 on unless you want to turn into a depth charge. Alright. I'll be streaming for about another 30 odd minutes. Cheapest filters will totally depend where you're located and everything else. Sorry, somebody trying to spam. There we go, he's gone. Kaiser Wilhelm II says hello. Or hi. Hello, Kaiser Wilhelm. Well, American. Do you mean American students in America or American students visiting the UK? Because I don't know if you could take armoured vests through luggage in like the plane. I don't think they'd let you do that. I'm pretty sure I got my IP5 from B Store, but that'd been one I'd have bought from him, not sent for free. What variant of bolt action do you mean, do I like the most, or what? eBay, like I said in the video. If they can buy ex-police vests, then just do that. It's probably the cheapest way of doing it, but obviously if a school shooter has an actual rifle, that's not going to do anything to protect you. Yeah, there's lots of sites that charge absurd amount of money. Just don't buy it from them. Simple, you know, problem solved. Alright, cool, see ya. I don't think it would explode that easily, Leaning Tower of Stalin. They can apparently set on fire, explode. Obviously, Boris, modern masks with modern filters are better than older masks with older filters. As said, watch my videos on it, please. Don't keep asking the same questions over and over. Probably Lee Enfield for bolt actions, because of obviously the 10 round mag in it, and it was very fast to work the bolt on them. Yeah, it's just, the guy's question anyway, Nixon was basically for people in the US. I wasn't sure if he meant Americans visiting the UK. That's sort of interesting, but yeah, he meant for kids in American schools, so. Ex-police vests will protect you from pistol rounds and like buckshot and stuff, but you can't stop rifle rounds of Kevlar. Cool, you gonna sell them then? Because otherwise it's a bit pointless having all those masks and doing nothing with them. Yeah, M65 jackets are amazing. Yeah, I was mentioning that in a bit earlier because some people asked me about it yesterday. Some heroin addicts had an overdose and now they're blaming the Russians for it. Next time I do something stupid, I'll blame the Russians for it. If I fall over and hurt myself, the Russians pushed me. If I drink too much and I'm ill, the Russians must have poisoned me. You know, just blame the Russians for everything. If you're late, if you have a job and you don't turn up to work one day, say the Russian agent stopped you coming to work. Everybody keeps asking about that SGE mask, but I've only ever seen it shield in that video where they claim it's the best mask ever. Looks okay, but it's probably not the best mask ever. GP5 because it actually works. The GP7 is kind of crap. It depends what you mean by a bushcraft video. If you mean like actual lots of field videos of bushcraft, you might want to actually subscribe to channels that do bushcraft videos. Do you think that drug dealer said, "I got some good shit right here, comrades"? I think the bush has been cut down a bit now. MP40 is a higher quality submachine gun, but the PPSH was logistically better, so I'd say PPSH, but then the PPS43 was better still. Yeah, I mean, a mask mostly made out of polycarbonate is going to be fairly strong, but I imagine there's going to be some glue somewhere which might be a weak point in it. PPS43, like I just said. We were just speaking about that, said it's fake news. It's because Theresa May is such a bad leader and they're desperately trying to, you know, hold on to power. Oh no, don't pay attention to me failing on Brexit. The Russians poisoned somebody again. Yeah, I did see your thing about the chemical suits. I'll have a look at some point, but can't really buy a load of stuff at the moment. I've got another helmet coming. I've got the armed police helmet coming because supposedly, according to Tumbo, they're actually better than the military helmets, which wouldn't surprise me because Britain's turning into a police state. The police have better weapons and armour than the military. So, the only annoying thing is looking at the tracking info, it looks like something bad's going on with the tracking, so it might be late or I might have to get a refund and another one sent out or something. Well, that's a tough one because I don't have any American masks that would actually be functional. If it was repaired and in working order, the MCU-2P, but I'd say my best bet would probably be the M17 then, even though that's not worth using. If I had an M40, I'd say the M40, but I don't have an M40. In theory, you could change it as long as you manage to get it airtight and everything. That's cool. Do they just randomly have it sitting in a school or something, or a college? What about North Korea? It's a communist hellhole. It's not even communist anymore because they've come up with their own stupid ideology. I get asked that in pretty much every stream. Off the top of my head, no idea. Depends if you mean like the surplus prices for the mask or collector's value prices. Probably over 1,000 easily, but like I said, I've never tallied it up and I don't really care to. So I'd only ever sell them as a last resort if I actually had to sell them. So I'd do that then as and when I sell them. Did you add a GP5 with a GP5 filter? K98. MP5 out the ones I have, but MP6 is probably better for the Polish masks. When you say 40mm, do you mean 40mm NATO? Then it really depends. You're going to need a full-on ABEC type one, but it depends if you get a good industrial ABEC 2P3 one, or if you want just like the Avon style 40mm ones. That's kind of like saying what is the best brand of ammunition. It's a very vague question. when you say 25 quid, are you in another country and saying it's equivalent of pounds? Because if there was one for £25, I'd buy it in an instant, but I've never seen any that cheap online in the UK. FP5, Polish FP5 filters are the only safe filters I know of that fit the GP5 that are easy-ish to find. Because like the modern Russian filters generally are very expensive to import. If it's fine rust, yeah, you could use a particulate filter. No, I didn't do cadets. I don't have a Millennium, so I can't comment. Some people have said yes, some people have said no, so I have no idea. I more get tired of the questions people have asked over and over again, don't really listen to an answer. Scariest one, I'd say get an SHMS or a similar optical mask with like the round sort of deep looking eyes. They probably had FM12s, not S10s, if it was recent, because the police use FM12s. Yeah, I've got 2 Geiger counters and I've done videos on them. Well, supposedly the best way, it depends. If you just want to store the masks in a dark cupboard in their bag that's not damp is the best way of storing them so they don't deteriorate. If you're going to display them, supposedly on glass heads is a good way because they don't react to the glass, most masks. But really it's just totally up to you. Don't store them in direct sunlight or in a room where the heat changes rapidly. I've done a video talking about how homemade masks are not very effective, only would really work against tear gas. Totally depends. I don't really want to advise you on stuff that might get you in a lot of trouble EDCing, so you'd have to look at your local laws and whatever else. If you're in America and you can see one for like $25 or $30, yeah, buy one. It depends. Some PDFs I've seen with Soviet children masks have been more expensive than SHMSs. I think it depends on the model. Wow, I can't grab a gun because I'm in the UK, but if I could, L1A1. CT12, because it has the smaller eye bits. Sorry mate, I don't speak Russian or similar Cyrillic language. I don't have time to translate stuff in the live chat. There aren't really any cheap Geiger counters. The cheapest thing you could buy is a little dosimeter that changes colour if you've been exposed to radiation, but actual Geiger counters, you can either buy like old ones that are really bulky and heavy, that would be like £60+, or for £100+ you can buy like the full, like, you know, little Geiger counters. So I'd definitely recommend the little pocket ones, like the SOX one I have over other stuff. CT12s are pretty rare. FM12s you'd probably find much easier to get, because the CT12 was just made for special forces teams and stuff, not general use. Yeah, what a great price for a GP5. Yeah, every stream I get asked where I've been on holiday, and I say every time, so I'm not saying again. Yeah, they did several versions. They did a PDF with the hose on the side and the metal bit on the side. They did the PDF with the plastic bit and the hose on top, and they did a PDF with a more modernised version of the PDF. There's quite a lot of variants because they made them for a pretty long period. What do you mean by a Chernobyl dosimeter? Cool, which mask's the FM53? Oh, that really modern one. Yeah, that's a great price if you got one for that. Obviously I'm reading chat. As in, what have you done making all the asbestos filters? Watch my video on recommended masks, where I've done videos speaking of like what masks are available and what prices. Nein, mein Deutsch ist nicht gut. Well, I don't have one of those, so I can't really comment on it. But yeah, if a dosimeter still works and still changes colour and you can still reset it, that's good. But I don't have like one of the old dosimeters. I have the combined, like, the thing I'd actually use is my combined SOX dosimeter and Geiger counter, so you get a live reading and you also see what your accumulative dose is since last time you reset it. I have a size 2 and a size 3 GP5, both fit me. Size 3 is a bit more comfortable, but I wouldn't trust the seal as much, whereas a size 2 is a bit too tight. I really would need a size 2.5, but Soviets didn't do half sizes. I don't think I blocked you. No. I'm guessing YouTube's either shadow banned you, or your account's not working. But I've had lots of people say stuff like that, so I blame YouTube personally. But I've not blocked you, no. But I think that Neo Papa guy was saying that he had the same problem, where for some reason I didn't ever reply to his comments, but now and again I'd see a comment and I'd reply to it. So I guess it's just YouTube screwing up as usual, just like lots of people don't get notifications to my videos. And just like a lot of the time I can't actually read and reply to people's chat messages either. Yeah, as I saying, just use your spare account if you want to comment, because obviously something's gone wrong. It might be all of a sudden I'll be able to see your comments, but I've not seen you comment in a while, so I guess YouTube's broken it. Yeah, well, I've not blocked any of your accounts knowingly, so I think just, you know, like you're saying the other time, I think it's just YouTube is probably screwy, where randomly I can't see people's messages anymore, or maybe it just shadow bans you if you've done something on some video and they didn't like it, or an automated system didn't like what you did. I don't know about either of those things, CBRN. I don't know what the Russians have done. What have the Russians done? Yeah, that gets mentioned every time, and every time I answer it, so stop asking the same question that I've answered several times. No, they've just there's two variants of the GP7 and the PMK. They did one variant that had the valve on one side and one on the other, so they just have the version like that. You don't need a tutorial to convert the mask, you just literally need to buy the mask like they have in the film. Now, Theresa May would like another Cold War, because then she could say, oh look, I'm not a failing Prime Minister. Trump's here in about a week, isn't he? That'll be interesting. I see all the people are crying about it. Yes, and so did America. So what? Both, if you're a bit naive if you don't think every government ever sells arms to the Middle East. Yeah. I mean, but it wasn't... The thing is, though, it's like, not every Russian person is a communist. You know, they had a thing called the Civil War in Russia, between the whites and the reds. So there were a lot of Russians that didn't identify with communism, and lots of those were murdered. Quite likely, but I think it will depend on the country. I think there will be lots of like clashes and stuff as well. Oh, there's not terrorist AKs. An AK is an AK. It doesn't matter who it's sold to. It doesn't magically become a terrorist AK. But, like, the thing I was saying is that every pretty much major nation sells weapons to the Middle East. It's not like an exclusively Russian thing to do that. A lot of the time they had like little half face masks on. And like dust masks, and that was actually the study they did where they realised dust masks don't really protect you from anything. There are some pictures of soldiers with SHM41s on and others with like rebreathers on. I think he must mean the AK from Counter-Strike. That's a terrorist AK, isn't it? You can buy the Glue or you can buy the AK. Everybody always buys the AK. That's the terrorist AK. Use raincoats if you don't have an NBC suit. It's better than nothing. Plastic or rubber raincoats are quite good. Why are you asking me, Boris? I don't know. Oh, the thing is, with the IRA, that wasn't actually directly the American government supplying them. It was lots of Americans bought guns and sent them to the IRA, and the American government didn't do much about it. But that was back in the day in the UK, where pretty much wherever you were, you could buy, like, ARs and stuff in the UK as well, before we had the stupid gun bans. No, it's not raided from a terrorist warehouse. I'm not sure where you're getting that from. It's a Serbian RPK. I had an old bug out bag video. I keep meaning to do a modern one. I haven't done it yet. Number 1, that's terror. Number 2, that's terror. I mean, I quite like Trump, to be honest. Certainly better than if they elected Hillary. L1A1 SLR Digiwaffle, like, gets asked in every stream and has already been asked in this stream. Yeah, let's not get too political, mate. I'm sure you know what my opinions are on that, but I don't want to get arrested. Don't ask again. Well, I'm not in the States, so I don't know what guns cost in America. You can own semi-auto air pistols, but they still have to be under 6 foot-pounds of energy, like all pistols in the UK. Yeah, that's fine, just don't bring it up again. Like I said, that's why. I think most people know what my opinions are, but I'm in the UK, so I can't really talk about certain things. Yeah, well, I wouldn't know in Chile either how much guns should cost. The FM53, looking at it, when there's not a filter on it, it kind of reminds me of the BEM 4GP quite a lot. It's sort of weird. I know it's like an M50 variant, but still you know, it's just a bit funny. Right, been going 50 minutes, I'll go for another 10 more minutes. Alright, sorry, you couldn't help yourself, could you? So you're gone. No, it depends what you want it for. The M50 is technically higher spec than an M53, but an M53 I think is closer to a 40mm mask, isn't it? Yeah, General Belgrano was the Argentine ship sunk in the Falklands War. When 4K is mainstream enough and cheap enough, there'll be a point in it. You just use a knife and cut around the side that Swiss filter thing because it's in like a pouch. That's how it stays fresh. But yeah, 4K is kind of pointless until everything's in 4K and 4K's mainstream. What do you mean no seeing comment? Yeah, basic human rights, not just free speech, basic human rights. What do you mean, did I copy from other videos? And I came up with my list of ones I thought were creepy from my collection. Oh, free speech is a human right, but it doesn't mean we have it in the UK, because the UK is a totalitarian shithole. How many times do we have to go over this? You are allowed to own a shotgun if you have the right paperwork, but that doesn't mean that it won't be taken away unless you say something the government doesn't like. I'm pretty sure everybody can see comments. Do you mean where do I get info on gas masks? There's lots of places. You can Google search a particular mask and then try and find info on it. Not really into bushcraft. That's other people asking me that earlier, and I basically said if you're into bushcraft, you might want to find a dedicated bushcraft channel. I'd really like a Canadian C4 or an Avon M50. And probably an M40. You can't get AA-12s in the UK even if you have a shotgun license. Oh dear. I mean, you might be able to get an AA-12 if you can only get a tiny magazine for it. You buy it online, same as most things. A C7 for £40 is very cheap, yes, considering that they're 100 to 200 kind of RRP. Yeah, the GSR has a drinking tube in it. My drinking tube broke on my GSR. So I don't have a drinking tube on mine anymore because the moss fell apart like they do. Well, it's super rare. You can't even find a Mickey Mouse mask for sale, probably 99% of the time. And if you could, it would probably be several thousands, if not millions of dollars. I think there's like 2 or 3 in private collections in the world, and that's it, because it wasn't ever mass produced. They were like concept masks that were drawn up and then never used. Full auto shotguns are allowed in the UK. Well, they're semi-auto technically, aren't they? But no, I know there's lots of concept body armors, but I've never really looked into them. If they become mainstream enough and produced, I'd be more interested. I've said several times, Spartan, I'd rather not keep going into it. But I've got more than one thing. Yeah, but if I found a black one for sale and I could actually get one for sale, I'd still get the black one because it would mean I'd actually have the mask. All of them, Jonathan, because nuclear fallout particles are alpha radiation. It's the easiest thing to block. You just need to amplify the volume after you finish filming, Cyanide. Yeah, you've made it by finishing 5 minutes. I don't think there's original Mickey Mouse masks for display in Disneyland Paris because there's only a couple known about in the world, and I'd have heard about this if they were there. They're probably like recreations of it or something else. I mean, I'd actually believe it more if you said Disneyland, Florida, but not Paris randomly, because they were a prototype mask drawn up in the UK and then never, sorry, US, and then never used. So they made a couple of prototype models and that was it. Hence why there's only a couple in existence. You unscrew it, the plug on the straw. The problem with AA12, well, I don't actually know if this is a problem with the AA12, but I know it's a problem with, like the Sega or whatever it was, is that, you know, militaries use the brass shotgun rounds, not the wax shotgun rounds, which is why you can't use them in the military style shotguns, because they kind of destroy the round if it's kept in the magazine for too long and it misfires or misfeeds. We were just talking about a FAC or FAC. No, because they're politically controlled now. So, and I've already said stuff the government doesn't like, but you lose a firearm certificate in the UK if you say something offensive online. Just like UK shooting or English shooting, whatever it's called, lost his guns for saying something completely, you know, non-offensive online. Maybe he said he voted for UKIP or something. Boom, your shotgun license gone. Your firearms license gone. You lose a load of money. Yeah, it sounds interesting, like I was saying, Death Whisperer, but until it actually becomes mainstream, mass-produced, and proven to be field effective, it's not all that interesting, in my opinion. There's lots of really cool things in concept, but unless they get actually made properly, you know. No, I didn't have that problem. Maybe you need to put more force on it. British Mickey Mouse masks are really easy to find, yeah, because they were mass-produced children's mask. The UK sadly is still part of the European Union at the moment because we've been betrayed on Brexit. GP2s are pretty rare apparently because they were made on a limited scale in World War II. And I don't think they were made very well, so they've probably all fallen apart. So yeah, they're pretty hard to get hold of. Yeah, €25 for the BEM4 GP is a pretty good price, especially if it comes with a jigsaw bag. Assault Legos. Use them like caltrops, throw Lego bricks at people. We were talking about that earlier base box. Like I said, it's totally unenforceable, so let them try it and it will fail. And as I said, I'm medically unfit. How many times? Nathan, remember when we said we're not talking about politics? What's your opinion on political party? Oh, even though we're not talking about politics. Oh no. Brexit should be good, but I think limited government to a very big degree is good. I've done videos on my medieval weapons, so have a look at them. Now, I've said it quite a few times in a lot of my videos whenever anybody asks why have I not done military service. No, as I've said, I've got short-term preps, but I die in the long term from medical issues anyway, so there's no point preparing something where I'm just going to die horribly. I don't really care if it's Lego or Legos. Doesn't matter, does it? Legos is a plural of Lego. Alright, cool. Yeah, thanks, Crazy Chicken Guy. I like the Acme My Bloody Valentine gas mask, the original one, the Acme Clear Vision or Full Vision, whatever it's called. From the UK, obviously, from England. I thought that would have been quite obvious. Although saying that, there are a few channels I've seen where people really don't have accents where it sounds like they're from, especially when you have German or Swiss people that somehow have English accents. Looters wouldn't get in my house because I'd die defending it. But who cares if Lego or Legos is the plural? Why are you bringing it up? What do you mean, wimple? What's a wimple? Well, if I had to use a mask for actual preservation of my life, obviously a modern one, which works really well, but in terms of looking cool, I kind of like the retro ones. Well, as I said, I'd be dead, it wouldn't make a difference, would it? Hard to do any of those things if you're dead. Yeah, you're certainly a grammar Nazi, constantly going on about the Legos and the Lego. I mean, I know plural will be Lego bricks, not Lego brick, but still, who actually cares about that? I've seen actually Lego, the company, gets really butthurt over it and is like, oh, please refer to them as Lego, not Legos. It's like, who cares? I don't know, probably £20 to £30, because bear in mind it's the British Mickey mask. Mickey mask, there we go again. Mickey Mouse mask, not the American Mickey Mouse mask. Right, anyway, stream's been on for an hour. As I said, I'm going to go because it's too hot and horrible. So thanks everybody for the stream. As said, sadly I had to block a few people tonight who would not stop talking about political stuff after they've been warned several times to stop. But mostly it was good. So, yeah. But again, if you've got a question, maybe search my channel for it first, just to see if I've done a video on it, because I probably have. Wow, you just joined. Wow, it's just ending. But yeah, because generally every stream I'll constantly get asked the same questions over and over again. But yeah, see you everybody.